morning, Mr. Gray. How are you?
All right, doing all right.
So, Mr. Gray, would you please give us your full name and your Department of Corrections ID?
Antonio Gray, 310741.
Okay. Now, Mr. Gray, you're going to slow down now.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm a little nervous.
Oh, okay. So just sit back and you relax, okay?
Okay.
Mr. Gray, my name is Alvin Roche.
Yes, sir.
And to my left is with Pearl Wise, and to my right is Freeman.
Yes, sir.
Let me explain the process to you. Just let me talk. Don't answer, okay?
Yes, sir.
Let me explain the process to you. I will read some information into the record. Once that information to the record, we'll conduct a parole interview with you. At the appropriate time, we allow Warden Goodwin to make comments if he wishes. And then we're going to allow Ms. Patricia Williams, the reentry program director, to make a statement. And then before we vote, we'll allow you to make a statement on your behalf. Do you understand the process?
Who on my behalf?
You can make your own statement at the end of it. Just
Oh, okay, okay.
tell them you understand what it says. You do understand.
Yes, sir.
And the person that's going to make a statement on your behalf is Ms. Patricia Williams. She is a reentry specialist for the reentry program.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Gray, you are a 7th felony offender. You're currently 50 years old. And you are sentenced out of Caddo Parish. And you were sentenced on November 13, 2019 for simple robbery. And you received a 7-year sentence.
Yes, sir.
You've been incarcerated for 10. So you've been incarcerated for 4 years and 10 months. Your parole date is August 8, 2023. Your adjusted good time date is May 12, 2024. And your full term date is May 7, 2025.
Yes, sir.
Is all this information correct?
It's correct.
So, Mr. Gray, your case has been assigned to me. So let's get started. Tell me exactly the number of programs that you've completed in the last 4 years and 10 months.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Living in balance, parenting, thinking of a change, anger management, and reentry.
And all of those have been completed this year in 2022. Is
Yes.
that correct?
That's right. Yes, sir.
So why did you wait so long to take program?
Well, that's the reason why it came up like that. You know, I just
He just got here in January of 22, Mr. Roche. He had been in some of the parish facilities prior to that. So
Okay.
he got here, he got enrolled in the programming, and he's been involved pretty heavily over the last 14 months in programming, but like he didn't get here until January of 22.
Okay, great. How are you disciplinary? How many disciplinary write-ups have you had since you've been incarcerated for the last 4 years?
none,
You've had no disciplinary write-up.
none, sir.
Good. Outstanding. You have a job assignment right now?
No, sir.
So basically, you're in classes all day?
Well, classes are out of date right now.
Okay, and what are you currently enrolled in?
My last class was on reentry. I went on, did it.
The 100-hour pre-release, he's talking about, Mr. Roche.
Okay, so basically you complete that. So basically, you don't have a job assignment, so what do you do all day, Mr. Gray?
I walk the track, you know, for right now, I walk the track. I try to take deep breath and try to meditate and help be thinking about trying to get myself back in order for society.
Good, good, good. Now, Mr. Gray, I'm going to read off some information. And I'm going to ask you a question after I read off this information. And try to the best of your ability to answer this question, okay?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Mr. Gray, you have an extensive criminal history. You've been convicted of 7 felonies and been arrested over 60 times. I didn't say 6, I said 60 adult arrests.
Yes, sir.
Supervision 12 times, and you've been revoked all 12 times.
Yes, sir.
The judge who sentenced you is strongly opposed to your early release because of your criminal background. The DA's office is opposed.
Yes, sir.
Because every time that you've gotten on supervision, you've been revoked. Law enforcement is strongly opposed. You have a high risk assessment, which tells this panel that you have a very high chance of reoffending. You have a very high needs assessment. In 7 years serving on this committee of roles, I've never seen a needs assessment where every category in that assessment, you score high. You score high in transportation, education, substance abuse, antisocial thinking, substance abuse. Every category, you rated high. And
Yes, sir.
basically, because you've been revoked 12 times, I think you a very serious supervision risk. I see no viable transition plan, and hopefully the reentry specialist will give me a transition plan. But your first conviction was in 1992.
Yes, sir.
And then you were put on supervision in 93 in July. A month later, you're back in jail.
Yes, sir.
You were released again in 1997. 2 months later, you're back in jail.
Yes, sir.
You were released in 99. And a couple of months later, you're back in jail. You were released in 2000. In a month, well, actually 6 days later, you're back in jail. You were released in 2001. And a month later, you're back in jail. It goes on and on. So tell me why this panel should place you back on supervision.
Okay. I feel like, you know, I mean, at that time moment, I wasn't on my medication. All the time that I'll be off and on trying to get my medication back, and I wasn't on my medication. I appreciate it. Would you please, sir? Please, ma'am. Please, sir. Y'all go ahead and release me, if you will, please, sir.
You need to tell them why you ain't coming back to jail.
I ain't come back to jail because I'll be in the program trying to better myself. I got a 79-year-old mother out there. She's struggling. She got bronchitis and trying to breathe. I go home and take care of them and help them out. This is my last rip. And I feel like I'm on my last rip. And I appreciate if y'all just transfer and let me release me. Give me a
Mr.
chance.
Gray, Mr. Gray, Mr. Gray,
Yes, sir.
how long have you been on your medication?
Well, for right now, I've been on it since I've been incarcerated. Sometimes I have problems when I go out in society, trying to get back to the mental health place. And I go to the mental health place without my mental health card, they not gonna give me my medication.
Okay. Good. Ms. Wise, any questions?
So why would you go without your card if you know you're not going to get service?
Okay. See, I need my medication. If I ain't got my card, they're gonna give it to me.
That's what I'm asking for. Why would you go without the card?
Okay, I gotta get one of them in the program that I'm in to help me go by the place to get my card. It's kind of hard for me, but they help me out. The place that I'm going to, they say they're gonna help me get back on the right track.
Oh, okay.
Give my food stamps and my card, and they're gonna help me get everything situated for me.
And she gonna tell us about it in a minute. But your understanding, you gonna live there or you gonna live with your mother?
I'm gonna live there with them in the program.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell me why you robbing people? What your medication got to do with you robbing people?
Well, I was frustrated at the time moment. A lot of things going on. It's hot outside. I got aggressive, and once I got aggressive, I had to have something to eat. I wicked out. I flipped out. Got mad. That's what it was.
And you couldn't go to your mother's house and get a plate of food?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
But my mom stayed in Jonesboro. I was in Shreveport.
Oh, okay. So what were you doing in Shreveport?
So I stay over there in Shreveport now at the halfway house. So now that I'm at this other halfway house, they supposed to help me. She said she's gonna give me the opportunity to help me get back on my feet with my clothing and everything.
Sir, I understand. I know she's gonna tell us what that program provides. Have you ever received SSI?
Ma'am?
Have you ever received SSI?
Yes, ma'am, all my life.
Okay, so that check wasn't enough. You had to be out robbing.
It wasn't on at the time and moment.
So that concerns me. You get your SSI, but you're still out getting upset. You know, spend all your money. It's gonna take somebody else's money. Help me with that.
Yeah, I can't, that's what happened. That won't happen no more. That's what happened.
Because your family even said that. You do that. You get mad. You get mad and start doing it.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
It's that woman.
Oh, I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for doing that.
That's all I have.
It won't happen no more.
Before I get to you, Juan Goodwin, would you like to make any remarks?
Well, Mr. O'Shea, Antonio has done well in the 14 months he's been here. We've kind of like, kept a close eye on him, mentored him, made sure he got his medication, made sure he got from point A to point B. He hadn't had any write-ups. He's been very active in programming. And, I think when he says he ain't gonna do it anymore, I think he means that today. But he needs to be somewhere where somebody's going to make sure that he takes his medication. I think you can tell him your diagnosis.
Bipolar, schizophrenia.
And he takes some antipsychotic medication, and he takes lithium for his bipolar diagnosis. And then we make sure that he gets his meds, and he does. He's a friendly individual as long as he's in a controlled environment. My concern is same, and I'm sure as the board. He hasn't done well in the free world, and all the times he's been on supervision. You mentioned the number of times he's been in jail. He's a 7th offender. But Gray has done really well in the last 14 months, and I'm very proud of him for all the things that he's accomplished. and he's very capable of doing well as long as he follows his medication regime and has things to keep him busy, keep his mind occupied, keep his hands occupied. He's capable of doing okay, but if he strays away from the medication and if he strays away from the controlled environment, Mr. Roche, that's when he has his problems.
No problems.
And he's got a long history of that. But he's done well here to 14 months. He's a very pleasant fellow to be around. He's got a big smile on his face every time I see him, and he's doing the things that he needs to do, and he's living probably better than he has in a long time. These last 14 months, it's probably been really good for him.
So will y'all please, ma'am, please, sir?
Well, they gotta go on with the board. But anyway, I don't have any other comments, Mr. Roche. I think you understand exactly what I'm saying and his behavior and his abilities and his lack of abilities in other areas.
Mr. Gray,
Yes, sir.
when you got out before, they didn't have you an appointment scheduled with mental health already?
No, they had an appointment, but I didn't receive my card until about 2 or 3 weeks later. Then I misplaced my card. Then I had to go back and get another card. Then once I got that card, I can get my medication.
He'd be released on, he'd have a Medicaid card this time when he releases in August if he's eligible to make parole. He goes home next May and he just completed reentry, so he's gonna earn, he just completed the 100 hours, so he's gonna actually earn a little more CTRP credit. He's gonna max out on the CTRP credit, but part of the discharge process now, Mr. Freeman, they'll have the Medicaid enrollment, they'll be enrolled and he'll have an appointment and we'll give him medication the last 2 weeks, and his appointment will be within that 2-week time frame to get his medication renewed. But somebody's going to make sure he keeps his appointment.
He probably got that 2 weeks of medication last time when he was.
He did.
And they probably set up an appointment through the probation office for him to go.
Right.
Somebody's going to have to make sure he keeps his appointment, so that's his problem. He doesn't, unless he's living in a very structured environment, he gets kind of sideways sometimes.
Yeah, I have no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. Let's hear from Ms. Patricia Williams from the reentry program in Shreveport and Cattle Parish.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Ms.
Good morning. Good morning to the board. My name is Patricia Williams. I'm the regional reentry manager for the Exit 318 reentry programs. Our reentry program is one of the CIG grants. We have programs Caddo Bossier, Washoe Parish, and Rapides Parish. So the services that we can provide Mr. Gray are going to be, I believe, some of the things that he does need. I did have a conversation with Mr. Gray probably a week or so ago. So I am aware of his mental health diagnosis, the 7th offender, no write-ups. And so just to give you information about our program, it is voluntary. It is 6 months long. He will go into a transition house. His case managers for his Medicaid, his mental health, or substance abuse issues will be handled through Easter Seals. That is their portion of the grant that we have. I was really glad to hear that he's going to come out with 2 weeks of his medicine and along with his Medicaid part, because that will help us determine who his primary care physician is and then get him to the correct mental health or substance abuse place where he can get the medicine he needs along with any shots he may need. Mr. Gray does understand that if he's granted parole, he does have to abide by the Exit 318 contract. That means staying in communication with all of his team members. We work closely with parole. His parole officer would be Officer Julie Elkins. He has to report to them within 48 hours and do all the parole stipulations, not only that the local parole office, but the parole board. We will closely monitor that. I do believe he would be a good candidate for the transition program that we have where he could work at Goodwill. That's 9 weeks. It is a part-time position, and he's also getting job readiness training until his job placement specialist can find or advocate for him a full-time position in the community. If that's not something he can do because of his mental health or his disability check is, that hopefully we can get him placed permanently at Goodwill. That's what Goodwill does, especially in our retail stores. Again, we're going to provide structure for him. As I told Mr. Gray, I cannot, advocate for him on a personal level, but I can advocate as far as what the program does and the reputation that we have within the state. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Ms. Williams, when you spoke for the first time, I realized who you are. Nice seeing you again.
You too.
Wonderful presentation, and I enjoyed the conversation we had after your presentation. And I appreciate it, and we'd like to see you involved more in case we get involved. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Any way that I can help, you just have to pick up the phone. I see Miss Wise quite often too, as well in Monroe area. So I'm happy to see each of you.
Ms. Williams, you are going to get him back connected with his SSI benefit.
Absolutely. So that's, we partner with Easter Seals to do the case management piece. So that would be the Medicaid, the SNAP benefits, his disability, getting that reinstated, and then also making sure that he gets to his appointments.
And after that 6 months, are you looking at independent living, or what you're looking at? I should say family.
Independent living.
Get to it.
Yeah, he can stay in the transition home that we provide for him, or we can look for independent living. Easter Seals also has a 2-year program should he need that, and that's where they have their own apartment. Easter Seals will come in and pay for their rent, helps them stay compliant with their medication. They would have their own case manager. It would be separate from the exit program. We have had several go into the Easter Seals program simply because of the mental health. And then sometimes it's just age related, that they're just not capable of that medication management and that long-term mental health and substance abuse treatment that this program can't offer, but Easter Seals can.
Thank you, Ms. Williams.
Thank you.
Mr. Gray,
Yes, sir.
would you like to make a brief closing statement?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
I would like to make a statement. I know that I end up in this, and I apologize to Mr. Goodwin and y'all that I came, but at least I get back on my medication, get back on the right track, back out in society.
Thank you, sir. Is the panel ready to vote?
Yes.
Mr. Gray,
Yes, sir.
I'm glad to see that you're back on your medication. I'm glad that you cooperated with Warden Goodwin. You're probably in the best place that you could have landed when you landed at David Wade because of your situation. But for me, I like to see a longer period of time. Your record is so bad. 7 felon offender, been revoked 12 different times. Your present crime is, I think, simple robbery, which is a non-violent offense. And you can reapply again in 6 months. I want you to have 6 more months or 7 more months under the supervision of Warden Goodwin and his staff, and the reentry program in Caddo Parish with Ms. Williams will still be there. But I want you to realize that your jacket is so terrible in high risk assessment and high needs assessment, extensive criminal background, poor supervision issue. And I want you to grasp the gravity of what your past means. So when you get out, hopefully that you will have a better understanding and will cooperate with the reentry program. Go to your appointments on time, go to your visits with your parole officer on time.
Yes, sir.
Basically, because you have such a high risk assessment and such a high needs assessment.
Mr.
I'm gonna have
Roach.
to- Yeah, sir, I'm voting.
Yes,
And
sir.
that's one of the reasons why you constantly interrupt people when they are talking. You have to get to the point where you listen more than you talk.
Yes, sir.
For all the reasons I mentioned during my presentation, high risk assessment, high needs assessment, extensive criminal background, law enforcement opposition, a poor supervision history. My vote is to deny your request. Mr. Freeman.
Okay, Mr. Gray, I have the same concerns with your criminal history and all. But the thing that gets me is this should have been an armed robbery charge. It should not have been a simple robbery charge. You stuck a gun on that lady. And that's just, I mean, you should be doing 99 years instead of 7. So in my opinion, I do not think you need to go out in society. You're still a risk, and I deny.
Mr. Gray, Mr. Gray, Mr. Gray, Mr.
Yes,
Gray, Mr. Gray, Mr. Gray. You're very concerning. It's very concerning to me, what you've done, the needs that you have. I do want you to know that at Exit 318, when you get out in your good time in 2024, that program will still be available. They have that state contract, but it's a 3-year contract, so hopefully it should still be, they're gonna just renew this year. So that, I want you to know that program will still be available. But you got to be available for the program. Yeah,
Right.
I heard my colleagues, my vote is to deny as well, for the reasons already been stated on the record. You need more time to practice, your good behavior. Best wishes to you, sir.
Mr. Gray, you have received 3 votes to deny your request. Your request for early release has been denied. Have a good day.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Rocha.
you.